All right, folks, welcome back to the podcast. This week, we've got Ed Lawrence. How you doing, Ed?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
No problem at all, man. No problem at all. Now, folks, if you've never heard of Ed before, he has a YouTube channel called Film Booth. It's well worth checking out. If you have any sort of YouTube presence, you also handle Instagram and TikTok sort of marketing as well, I believe, don't you?
On another channel, I did.
On another channel. No worries. So you're predominantly focused then through Film Booth on YouTube?
Yeah, making videos on YouTube specifically and trying to grow channels. And
Gotcha. Now, I'll get into the finer details of this, but you sort of popped up on my radar at the start of this year, and I sort of follow, or have followed, over the sort of 5-6 years I've been doing this, people like Daryl Eves, Tim Schmoyer, Nick Nimmin, all those sorts of people. So, you know, I've followed those channels. And I kind of got to the stage where I was like, okay, right, I think I understand this. We'll keep going. But obviously my growth's very slow. There's no massive peaks or anything. All of a sudden you cropped up on my channel, and I was looking and I was thinking, oh, this is something new. How come, why have you popped up on my channel? And then all of a sudden, what I liked about your channel is that you talk about stuff, and then you can actually see you implementing it into your videos as they grow. It's like each video is slightly different, and you can see you're actually incorporating the techniques that you've spoken about. And your growth has just been fantastic this year, hasn't it?
Yeah, in the last 6 weeks, I think I was about 13,000 subscribers about 6 weeks ago, and I've just
seriously.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
2,000 people a day coming on at one point. It's about 700 a day now on average over the week. But
that's fantastic.
I just changed my idea of what a YouTube channel should be and who I was targeting, and then just thought I'll put tons of effort in rather than just minimal effort. And believe it or not, working harder works.
Well, I've been sat really sort of studying your vids as we go. And as I said, I'm going to have one of these consultations with you. I'm going to book myself in for a consultation with you after all this. And, you know, on my latest couple of edits, which haven't been published yet, I'm trying to incorporate some of the techniques that you've spoken about. So I'm going to be interested to see how they transfer across to my sort of niche in the motorcycle world with my folks. But anyway, this isn't a business one-on-one. Ed, before we crack on and have a chat ourselves, can I throw the floor open to you just to go, right, what's your name, where'd you come from, what you do? How about we start with that?
Sure. So my name is Ed, as you already know. I'm from a place called Hertfordshire in England, which is kind of like the posh bit above London, I guess. It's often referred to. So I own a video production company in the UK. And YouTube was supposed to be like a marketing platform, but I'm now just a full-time YouTube creator that happens to have a business that I don't really get involved with at all. I haven't done it. My business partner looks after everything on that, and whilst I'm growing the sort of the channel and finding other sort of revenue sources from that. I guess I'm a full-time YouTuber now.
So what got you into this then? I mean, did you literally go from school into video production, or what was the path to get where you are?
So I did. I'm 35. So when I was at sixth form, it was peak go to uni or be a failure itis that was around.
I remember that. Yep.
So there's 2 kids in my year that didn't go to uni. Me and another one. The school called my parents in, because they were so worried about my future because I didn't want to go to uni. My parents lied and said, oh, no, he has applied, and they didn't care. Yeah. And then I ended up leaving school and buying into like a franchise, which is like a lawn care company. It's kind of random. So everything they do on like football pitches, fertilizer and stuff, I used to do on like wealthy people in Hertfordshire's lawns. And I ran that for 10 years, and it actually did quite well. I grew it up, but I just absolutely hated it. I couldn't stand the clients. Like, I loved working outside, but the way people spoke to me, and like, you know, I got called the bloody lawn boy, and it was like, it was just a show. It was some of the stories I have from the way people treat me was insane. And in the end, I just thought, I'm either going to shut it down or sell it. And I managed to sell it. And then I thought, oh, this is good. What shall I do now? And I'd always been making videos as a kid. I thought, I'm just going to start a video production company and sell it to businesses. I literally had nothing but a GoPro before. So I just got on YouTube, started learning how it was done. And I was like, oh, I like this YouTube thing. It's pretty good. And then I started learning about how that worked. And yeah, I run the production company for sort of, it's about 7 or 8 years old now. And a couple of years ago, I thought this is, it's painstaking trying to sell videos to businesses. Most of them don't understand marketing, let alone video, which is quite complicated. So I was like, maybe there's a better way. So I started putting more effort into YouTube, thinking it would expand my reach to more businesses who would maybe be interested in what we do. And I was very wrong. So I did that for sort of 2 years, 3 videos a week, 2.5 years. And I never missed one. I was relentless on it. And I was targeting search terms. So if you don't know how YouTube works, it's basically a search engine, but it's also a place where you go and have stuff thrown at you. Yeah. So I targeted search terms that people would put in around video marketing, but also YouTube and stuff. And it just turns out there's no interest on YouTube about video marketing, and everything I was making, you'd release it, wouldn't get many views, and then maybe 6 months later, you'd get views in search. And that's how I was growing the channel. Yeah. And then I was like looking at it and I've got 8,000 subscribers. And when I release a video, I only get 90 views. Yeah. That doesn't make sense. The subscribers are dead. And then suddenly I had this sort of big change of heart and thought, this doesn't work, does it? I've just spent 2 years doing something that is just building subscribers that don't exist, and I'm getting views, and this isn't going to bring in business. And I was like, I need to change something. So I sort of made a big change, and that's kind of where we are today, really.
Yeah, so the change that you've put in place, has that literally just been this year? Because like I said, I think you cropped up on my sort of homepage. I'm sure it was round about February, March time that you cropped up.
March 3rd was the first video in my new sort of strategy.
Right, so yeah.
And it took 14 videos to blow up. If you use the term blow up, there's different sort of sizes of blowing up. In my niche, I've blown up, I guess, quite quickly, or I'm blowing up. So yeah, it took 14 videos of just putting an insane amount of effort. I'm talking like 100 hours plus per video. Yeah. And, when you release a video a week, you've got to do the maths there.
Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah, it's soul destroying, isn't it? When you put all that work into a vid and you're like, as you said, you get a tiny percentage of your subscriber base actually watch it. And sometimes I look at it and I'm just like, I don't understand, because I don't think there's anything different in that vid compared to another similar one, which got like possibly 10 times the amount of views. And you're like, I don't know what went wrong there. So it's interesting to watch your channel.
It's nearly always the title. So traditionally, people are taught on YouTube, right, to make a title that the algorithm recognizes. And the algorithm will then categorize it and be like, I will show this to people interested in motorbikes, right? I've gone against that. And I'm like, screw the algorithm. I'm not using words to please that. I just want to please people. So when YouTube shows it to them, they go, that looks interesting, and click on it. So if I make a video about using sound effects, I know for a fact my viewers will never click on a video about sound effects and the impact it will have on their video. But if I call it, most YouTubers ignore this, but really shouldn't, suddenly it's like, whoa, wait, what am I ignoring? And people click on stuff. So it's more about knowing people and psychology. And that's always why videos tend to fail, because especially if standards generally quite high, if people have been doing it a while. So it was more of a human focus, which is kind of what they do traditionally in social media. That's always been the way you did it, like Instagram. The idea is you stop people scrolling. Yeah. And you picture up and you're trying to get in their head to give them something they're interested in. And basically, I'd say about 90% of people probably get taught to do it the other way, which is an outdated way as far as I'm concerned. It has its uses, but it's not the way to do it when 70% of views come from the YouTube homepage. So you should really be focusing on how do I get there? And that was it really. And it worked.
That's interesting, because I have definitely been focusing on the SEO side of things in the titles. Yeah. That is interesting. Yeah, that'll be something to look at for sure. This is very rude of me. Let's crack open a little beer here. I've got a little beer to partake. Slash, to your help.
Used to watch a lot of 44 Teeth, Baron Von Grumble, and I absolutely love that channel. I still kind of watch it every now and then, even though I've got rid of my motorbikes. But yeah, I think they do things best on YouTube from all the ones I used to like watching.
Definitely. It's proper entertainment, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's kind of the thing. It's like you can educate or you can entertain, and those guys kind of have a Top Gear vibe to their like budget bike battles that they used to do. I used to love watching that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually I'm a presenter on a new motorbike TV show that's coming to TV end of September, I think, October, and that's very much the vibe they're going for. Is basically Top Gear for bikes. So yeah, we're gonna have to compete with 44 Teeth for sure. So you mentioned about bikes. What's your bike history then?
So my bike history was I started on a Bonneville T100, and then I was basically never riding it because I work at home. Yeah, you know, I've got a studio which I never go into, and I used to live in a little village where I just walked to Sainsbury's, so I wasn't using my car or my bike. And in the end, I was like, someone tried to nick it, and then I was like, oh, do you know what? I'm going to get rid of it. I'm not riding it. And then I got rid of it. And then I went to a bike garage, a Triumph garage with my mate. And I was looking at the speed, but it was like the new Speed Triple R. And the bloke was like, oh, you like that, do you? And I was like, nah, yeah, I do. But, you know, I just sold my bike and I don't ride it. And he went, well, no one's taken it out this weekend. Do you want to take it out? And I was like, well, seriously? And he was like, yeah, don't worry about it, mate. Just feel free to take it. And I was like, I'd never been on a litre bike before. Yeah. So I literally had bought it the second I got on a dual carriageway because I remember screaming going down it. And my mate was on he had the street triple and I was on the speed. And then he got off and was like, that was amazing. And I was like, you wait till you get on this. Yeah. And I just walked in and I was just like, you doing an offer? And he went, no. And I went, fine, I'll take it. and that was it. And then that sat on my drive doing nothing. You know, I did about 2,000 miles and I was like, this is ridiculous. It's costing me, you know, I was paying finance on it. Yeah. And then I think it got to the point my dad had like a heart attack and I'd never really had a family member in hospital before. And I suddenly saw the impact of someone like really ill. And I was just like, do you know what? I don't want to put anyone through that. I don't ride it. Let's just get rid of it. And I still want one. I still look at them online and I'm like, oh yeah.
they've just brought out a 1200.
Yeah, no, I know. I've been looking at them. I don't have anywhere to store it. Luckily, I bought a house about a garage, but I feel like the next house will get a garage. And you know, and my mates all said they were going to get them when I bought them, and they didn't. And I was just like, so you know, riding around on your own is fun to a point, and I don't commute. So sometimes, you know, I leave the house once a week. Yeah, you really have to sort of push yourself out there. But I live in the countryside, so I've got some lovely roads for it.
Definitely.
So yeah. I'm trying to convince the girlfriend, maybe.
I know what you're saying. I used to ride every single day. I don't know if you know any of my back history. I was a copper in London. Used to be a police officer in London. So I used to commute in and out every single day, and I pretty much worked 7 days a week doing that. So, you know, and I'd just work YouTube all around about it. So I've gone from that to now like living the dream. Everyone keeps telling me where this is now my job. And I think I probably ride my own bike, I probably ride once or twice a month. I think I might actually get a chance to go out on my own bike, but I'm not complaining. I'm getting paid to take other people's bikes out and review them, so and go on trips. So I can't complain about that. But yeah, it is weird, isn't it? The workload that's involved in this side of things is just so far above what I thought it would be, and I think what a lot of other people think this involves.
Well, the problem is you start off slow because you're not very good. Now, I was kind of the worst of the worst because I'd been in production for 6 years. So instead I actually just didn't push myself. I just made average stuff because I was like, it'll do. Yeah. So I feel like I was like one of the biggest sinners there. But traditionally, you start off making videos. It takes ages. We get to YouTube, you know, you can only make a video a week or so, and it's all their spare time to do something quite basic. And then what happens is you get better and you speed up, but then you push yourself more. So you're always pushing yourself. So you never really get faster because you're always striving for better. Yep. So you get caught in this like loop, and that's kind of the way it works. But yeah, it's also addictive because it's like you get fed up. Like, I'm fed up making all these videos, and then you release it and it does well, and you're like, let's do another one.
It's like crack, isn't it? When that one video crack does really well, you're like, oh yes, I'm loving this. Then you release another one, and it's like, oh, I had 3,000 views by this point on the last vid. What's going on? What's happening?
Everyone's gone off me. I'm boring. No one likes me anymore. I know, it's a real mental battle. It's crazy that so many people want to do it. I'm not quite sure why everyone thinks it's so glamorous. It's just like a constant stress with about 5 minutes of ecstasy that hooks you again.
I think everyone thinks you're just going to be, you know, private jetting everywhere and driving Bugatti Veyrons from red carpet to red carpet.
Yeah. Well, I guess they look at it and go, because one of the things about when you make videos, so every time I go on holiday, that's how I started making videos. I take a camera, and then suddenly it's like, you know, your holiday disappears because you're filming and stuff. And when you're mucking around with cameras and stuff, it's like you have to adjust it all the time. And especially for you on a bike, if you go out for a nice ride and film it, there's so many things you've got to think about other than riding the bike that doesn't feel like fun anymore. It's not fun, but it distracts you from the fact that you're supposed to be out, you know, on the bike feeling free. But actually you're thinking, is the battery left? Is my mic gone? Yeah.
Constantly. And these bloody GoPros are just, do you have much experience with the GoPros? They're so unreliable. They either crash, corrupt the file, or I'm having loads of issues with audio with them at the moment.
I have a GoPro Max that I use every now and then, which is like a 360 camera. Yeah. And I thought it was just mine, actually. It's continually corrupting. I did a scene where I was driving around the local village, and I wanted to make it look like I hadn't been hit by a car. Yeah, I saw that. I had to use this 360 camera because when you get hit, you can spin it around in the edits. It looks like you've been hit. And I did it so many times because the flipping battery went. It was like, SD card corrupt, and I was like, why does this keep going wrong? I'm not even like abusing it. It's just being held. And, well, I'm glad it's not just me. Yeah, the forums and stuff are full of people moaning about GoPros for all sorts of different issues. I've just been given the new Insta360 One X2. I'd bought the One X before, and I had loads of issues with that on the bike. It didn't do well with the vibration. It seemed to cause it to corrupt the files and stuff with the vibration on the bike. So I tried the One X2, and so far that's been faultless. That's been really, really good. And it's very easy to edit in the Insta app as well. Yeah, they get a lot of good press. I was looking at getting one of the Insta cameras. I'm not that big on kit. Like a lot of people love buying cameras. I have the worst camera I own. I use because the production company's got loads of kit. I don't use any of the nice stuff. I have the smallest camera. That's basically pretty much all of my clients have better kit than me. I use one lens that doesn't move, it's just called a prime lens, and then I have another lens that I begrudgingly put on every now and then. I just try and keep it as simple as possible, but I don't mind buying GoPros, which is weird. I quite like buying them. Cameras and other stuff, not interested at all.
I know what you mean.
It's weird because most people love buying that stuff.
Oh yeah. My budget doesn't go to the posh DSLRs and everything like that. I literally do it on. I've got a little DJI Pocket 2. Got one of them, and then pretty much GoPros on my phone. And I've got the drone as well for the odd attempt at some cinematic stuff.
I think technology's for cameras has hit especially like DSLR mirrorless ones, has hit like a point where I don't really see it getting that much better. It's better from a professional point of view where it has like 8-bit or 10-bit and you can do more in the edit, but most people don't use that. And I was watching a review of a new camera the other day, and they're raving about it. I was like, this is the same as my camera that's 6 years old now. It just does something slightly better, and you're making it out like we all need it. And I was like, I wouldn't buy it because my camera, the first time I used it, I spilled an entire pint of beer on it at a wedding. So I know it's sturdy and it still works. The buttons don't, they're all stuck down. And sometimes it sort of malfunctions. But I was like, you know what? That's great build quality. You're not going to get in a cheap one, but, a new cheap camera that's made out of plastic. Mine's still got a metal case. So I'm going to hold on to that for as long as I can.
Definitely. Did you go down the wedding video route as well? I know a lot of creators.
No, this was just a friend of mine. I bought this new camera and I thought I'll bring it. It was in Italy, so I was like, I'll make a little video with it. Because basically, this camera, it was an A6500, it's called, and it had like a cool slow-mo setting. I was like, oh yeah, shoot stuff in slow-mo. And I took it to the wedding and we were dancing around at night, and I dropped the camera on the floor and went to pick it up. I had a full pint, and of course I just poured the pint over it, and I was like, oh, it survived.
Wait.
Yeah, but I'm literally using it now, actually. The camera you can see on now is the camera that has the pint on it.
You just get that warm, stale beer smell as it heats up.
Yeah, but that makes you more productive.
Makes you feel like you're in the pub.
Burn out.
Yeah,
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I've got some mates that. Sorry, go on. There's a bit of a delay. Apologies. I was just saying. I know. Okay, I know a couple of other creatives who, like YouTubers, who started their content creation just filming people's weddings with no idea, and they just started filming weddings. And I'm like, I couldn't handle that pressure. I mean, it doesn't matter if I muck up my vid when I'm on the bike. I can kind of reshoot, but you can't reshoot a wedding, can you?
I did one for my friend when I first started the production company. I did two. I did like mates ones. I'd never charged them. And the first one I did, I had the camera, and they, you know, like I used to have these giant hard drive. The camera's amazing. Yeah. You put a massive hard drive in the side, and I shot the wedding, and I had two cameras. I got home and the hard drive had corrupted, so I'd lost the majority of footage. And I was like, oh, I know. But the good thing about that is, and this is what, as I've always found, is the best way to get good at making videos. Is my whole life, because I wasn't very good at filming, but I've been editing for longer, I always found ways of getting around my rubbish filming and things that went wrong. So I was like, well, what do I have? And I had the best man. I had his speech, and I had loads of photos. And then I had some shots. So I was like, well, I can't make this like montage thing now. So I just used his speech, and then I animated loads of photos. It's something called a 3D parallax, where you like bring the photo so it looks like it's 3D, and then use the footage. And they absolutely loved it. They had no idea I lost all the footage. But it sort of forced you to think like, well, this is all I've got, and I've got to make a wedding video, and I've deleted the most, wonderful day of their life. I need to make it work, and that's kind of like a great way to learn, is like give yourself a really angry bride and then you'll edit better.
Absolutely, yeah. But you won't survive if you don't, will you?
Yeah.
So like in terms of the skills that you've got just now, then, I mean, how did you learn all of this? Is it literally been trial and error as you went, or what was the process?
I don't really know. I don't really know where half of this stuff I make come from. Sometimes I surprise myself with what I make. I'm like, oh, that was quite good. No, I guess I started making videos when I was 14 on my dad's 80s camera that we found in the attic. It was like 8 tapes, and it didn't have a battery, so we used to plug it into the mains. And then we had like a ghetto blaster we used to put outside for the backing track.
You sound so old.
Yeah. So we had it there. We'd put like a tape or a CD on, and we'd have that. So someone's job would be to start the music, then we'd do our like acting, and then we couldn't edit, so we'd have to watch it back and then pause exactly in the right spot to film the next scene.
Right.
And that's kind of where it started. And then I don't know. I think I discovered that Dad bought a Mac. We always had Macs, and I discovered iMovie, and I was like, oh, I can edit. And then Dad bought me a camera, and then I just filmed everything. I was always making stupid little videos of my mates, always. And then I started traveling. I think in 2009 I went to Japan, and I took a thing called a Flip, which was like pre-GoPro. It's a compact thing. I walked around vlogging, and I made a video and put it on Facebook, and everyone was like, what are you doing? This is like 2009. Like walking around. Yeah, they were like, you're talking to yourself walking around the street. Are you serious? Like, this is weird, mate. Like, pack it in. I remember I was like, why is this weird? Why is everyone getting at it? And it really stopped me from doing it, because I'd actually put a video on YouTube, and someone commented on it, like a stranger, and I was like, oh my gosh, people have watched my video, and I deleted it. Because I was like, back then, if you put something on, people would see it. And I was like, what the? And my biggest mistake I ever made was listening to other people tell me that vlogging was stupid, because I would have become a travel vlogger. I know I would have done, because every holiday. And then when I started going away with my mates, I used to do it, and it got to the point where they were like, oh yeah, like, can we make him a holiday video? And then we went to Marbella one year. I had a GoPro with a selfie stick, and we were getting this like posh beach club, and where it's really pretentious. And I was walking around with a selfie stick and a GoPro, like, and then again, my mate's super embarrassed, like, oh my God, no one had ever seen a selfie stick before. Yeah, it's just me. and you're a trendsetter, like pouting. And then my mates were so ashamed. They were like, mate, stop, you embarrassing us. And I made the video and I edited it and I put it on YouTube. And then I looked the next day, I had 13,000 views, and I was like, what? And the club had picked it up and shared it, and it had got traction. And I was just like, maybe I could do this as a job. And I just kind of like learned from there, really. But it's always just been playing around, and it's been something I've done forever, just fun. So it's kind of seemed natural to try and get paid for it.
Definitely. I had a chap on the podcast a month or so ago, a chap called Johnny. He goes by One Step Forward is his sort of tag on social media. And he's a professional travel vlogger. And he started, I think in his mid-20s, I think he just started a blog, like a traditional written blog online. And he now makes millions a year off of it. It's incredible, off of advertising and brand deals and everything that goes with it. So now he's just a professional sort of traveler. He's been to every single country in the world, all off of the back of wandering around, talking to a camera and taking some pics and videos. Like, wow.
I think that is my dream. I'm going to start. I've got, I kick myself for not taking that more seriously, but you wouldn't have known to. It was at a time where it was weird. To the weird where it used to offend people that I did it. Like, stop doing that sort of thing. But I was like, do you know what? Like, there's always time to do it. And I've got, I'm going to go to Spain for 3 months with my girlfriend. We just hired an Airbnb. We're going to buy a camper van. We're going to drive down there.
Oh, fantastic.
My girlfriend's got a large Instagram. She's got about 250,000 followers. Wow. I was like, we should just vlog this and turn it into our travel thing and just see what happens. Because both of us have got distribution, I know how to make videos, she's up for it. And I was like, well, I might just do a... Thing is, my problem I have is I don't want to be full entertainment. I quite like educating, which is kind of weird, but I feel like maybe it just takes the stress off trying to be, if you don't entertain someone, they're going to be disappointed. If you can educate people usually. So I might do like a remote travel thing based on remote working and sort of building a business overseas. So we'll see, but it's just time. And, that means obviously I need a drone to try and get like cool shots, to follow the van and stuff. So I feel like one day I've got it in me. But yeah, they're really lucrative if you get them right, and they can just become gigantic. Yeah, it's definitely. Just time. I wish I had 48 hours in a day. Unfortunately, I don't.
How do you find that then? The balance between running your business, starting the new wing of the business with YouTube that you have now, and then obviously you have a home life with your missus, your girlfriend as well. Have you managed to get the balance as yet? Because I know that's something I really struggle with personally.
No, we don't have a balance. I'm quite lucky that all my past relationships fell apart because all I did was work. I like working. Like the problem I have is people don't understand that when you do your hobby as a job, and they're like, stop working. I was like, well, if I was working for someone else 9 to 5, this is what I would be doing now. Mm-hmm. You just think it's work, but I've always been making videos, right? So she's a content creator. So, California fires up at the end of the day. So she gets bombarded with messages. So she's always managing that. She's got clients around the world. So we kind of do it together. Like I helped her grow a business last year. So she lost her entire business. She was a yoga teacher in person. Right. And we've since transformed her into like an online yoga and grew her account a ton over lockdown. She's on full time, and like that's. I think she went from 60,000 followers on Instagram making no money at all to sort of a year later full time kind of 280,000 followers. Very well known, and respected online yoga teacher. That's incredible. So that's been amazing. But the work-life balance thing. We've got a holiday tomorrow because neither of us had any time off for 2 years, and it'll be the first time in 2 years we'll switch off, which is good because I know how good I'll feel when I get back. But at the same time, I say to her at night, she's like, "We should stop working." I'm like, "What do you want to do? Sit and watch Netflix?" A show that neither of us are interested in. We'll go for a walk, and we go and do that. But at the end of the day, we do something we generally enjoy. She's doing the thing she's passionate about. So people say about the work-life balance thing, and really what we do is we sit downstairs in the evening on our laptops and we do I'm using quotation fingers here for the listeners. We do work. That doesn't feel like work. It's the fun stuff, the really laid back stuff, and there'll be something on in the background. I got a VR headset recently, actually. That's amazing for switching off because you can't get distracted. I go fishing in it. I learn to DJ. I've discovered a whole world of crazy out there.
You learned to DJ? Do tell.
Yeah, you have. Oh my! VR is one of the most insane experiences. I can't believe it's not bigger. I got this headset and my mind was blown. So there's just there's a game called Tribe, and you put the headset on and you've got a set of decks. And this is just a real set of decks that professional DJs use. And then you've got a man in front of you who in real life is a professional DJ coach. So it's all pre-recorded. So this is like on demand. He teaches you how to DJ, and you can download other DJ coaches. Then it gets even weirder. So I was on it one night, and you can download songs from all over the place, plug them in. So you just sit a DJ, which is such a great therapeutic way of switching off. And you really get into it. And I was like, this is so much fun. And then I was like, well, what's this button? And I clicked on it. And I was on the opposite side of the decks now, and I was looking at this little figure that was on the decks. And suddenly this bloke just went, sorry, mate, I'll be with 1 minute. I'm just lining up my tunes. And I was like, I'm in his audience. It's just me. So you can host events in it that people come and, watch the DJ. Went to a Snoop Dogg concert the other night. That was weird. I just walked into a foyer of this room, and you have like an avatar. So you pick what you want to look like in the virtual world. And I didn't know what to pick, so I ended up as like this Japanese anime woman with a really short skirt. And I was like, I don't know what I've done.
Why do blokes always do that? Blokes always do that.
I didn't mean to do it, right? And I walked into this foyer.
Start touching yourself, I know.
Like the O2, right? Where before you go into the stadium, there's this like big, if you like music events, there's like the foyer before the music event. There's this, and then there's different doors left and right. And I walked down it. And there's this vent on the left and right. There's people chatting. You can hear them talking in the corridor, just strangers. And my character was bent over, couldn't get her to stand up straight. I pushed a button. So my butt's hanging out with this short skirt. Everyone's like, what are you doing? And then I go to the right, and I'm in a Snoop Dogg concert. And you turn to the right, and there's people dancing who are actually there watching it with you. And then I went back down the road into this little room, and there's all these records on the wall. And I was like, this is weird. And I'm this little Japanese sort of anime woman. Yeah. And then this gigantic Winnie the Pooh walks past me. It's really muscly. There's a little kid, high-pitched voice, like, oh, can't you stand up straight, mate? And it's a karaoke bar. And there's people duetting together, putting on songs. And I was just like, what is this world I've discovered? It's amazing.
Are you sure you haven't been munching some funny cookies?
Do you know what? It feels like that. But it's unbelievable. Like, I can't believe how entertaining it is. And then the other day, I just downloaded a fishing game. I was like, I need to relax. So I popped on my headset, and I'm just there catching tuna. And the great thing is you don't have to touch a fish or nothing dies or gets hurt. And I'm just like, this is great fun. So if you can't switch off, get one.
I'm going to go all Joe Rogan on you here, because he talks about this all the time, doesn't he? About like in the future, we're now becoming so reliant on technology, on our phones, and everything's getting so immersive that he's convinced, and worryingly, so is Elon Musk, that we're eventually just going to be plugged in. Like full on the Matrix, and you'll just experience life virtually. Like whatever you need to be done, it'll be done virtually.
I'm well into this, so I'm all into the sort of metaverse, which is why I bought the and the whole blockchain side behind it as well, which is going to support it. So that's why I bought the headset, because I started finding all these blockchain companies. Like I found because of COVID. I hadn't been to a festival. I love music festivals. I hadn't been to for ages. I was just like, let's depress it. And I found this project that's getting built called Sonium Space. Right. Sonium Space? Sensorium, it's called, right? And there's if you've ever been to Glastonbury, there's a stage called Arcadia, which is like this gigantic spider that fires flames. It's a rave. It's insane. Right. I love it. And I was missing that, because I'd been to Glastonbury for like 6 or 7 years in a row. And I found this event, and they're basically building this world, which is like a gigantic rave. And Jay-Z has like gone in on this, and there's different music events. And the idea will be is they put David Guetta, who's a DJ, in this like cage, right? And they put 30,000 cameras pointing at him, and he DJ'd, and they are literally monitoring the way his lip moves, and they're building this avatar. So you will go into a David Guetta concert in the metaverse with other people, but you will be in this like apocalyptic arena with like the most amazing light show you've ever seen. And you'll be at an event. And it's amazing for musicians and people like that, because like, the music industry especially has been really hit hard. And of course, Napster and then Spotify destroyed record sales. This will be a whole new thing where it'll be like, well, they'll tour, but lads, on Friday, do you want to go to, this concert? It's 30 quid. We'll download it. We'll go together, or even just like a Tuesday night. So like the idea of Netflix and stuff, I think, what would I rather do? Go and watch like a classic U2 concert from the 80s that, went down in history, or watch EastEnders. And it just feels like a no-brainer. So it's definitely going that way. I think a lot of people are worried it's going to replace real life. I don't know if it will get to that. But already, like, I can have a business meeting with my business partner. We put on the VR headset, we meet in a room, and we can have boards with notes on. You can collaborate remotely. You know, you can write on the whiteboard, and you can do productivity meetings, like productive meetings. So I feel like what I find weird is this isn't as well known, because I go on it. I literally just sit on it in the evening looking at stuff like, this is crazy where this is going. Because I feel like, you know, the internet took a lot of attention away from television. And I feel like VR and the metaverse and all the things, these little worlds that are getting built, is just going to start taking attention away from social media, the internet, and all of these things. And it is the next revolution. And whether or not we get plugged in or not, but it's mind blowing. I think you can get an Oculus for like £300. And I reckon within about a week, I'd had more than enough like money's worth. Like, I had return on investment, because just from my mind being blown, it was amazing.
Wow. And what's it like coming back to the real world then, once you've been in that 3D world? I've never experienced any of that. Is there any
boring
sort of...
because
You're right.
Obviously the 3D world is so bright. So everything is like, you know, kind of cartoony. So you take it off and you're kind of like, oh, it's a bit weird in the real world. Now, the only problem is right now is, so think about how your eyes work. So if you look at an item, your eyes focus on it, and then everything else behind it goes blurry. From the VR headset right now is they are deciding what's blurry and what's in focus.
Gotcha.
So the whole depth of perception, you can get a bit of a headache in certain things because the stuff you're looking at is blurry. Right. But I believe they're working on eye monitors now to monitor where you're looking and so on, so that they can then bring things into focus, so that you then could,
like, a natural eye.
Yeah, because
you'll see
some of the games
eye.
And stuff, it's like, you know, 20 minutes of playing it and you're like, oh, I feel sick. Some are fine, but once they've sorted that, and they're kind of too bulky, I think if they get to the stage where it's like a contact lens, or a, you know, just a pair of glasses, then that'll be fine. But it is incredible. I'd highly recommend it to anyone. I couldn't quite believe how much, like, amazed I was by it.
I'm still laughing at the fact you decided your character would be a Japanese anime girl with a very short skirt.
Well, the thing is, I was kind of like, I want to go in, and it's asked me to pick character, so I was just like, yes.
Of course you are. Yeah, of course.
There's other people in there, and I'm like sitting there bent over with my bum out.
Oh no! How did this happen?
Yeah, I know.
Me and your stepdad. Oh, hello.
Yeah, but I'm really excited for all of that stuff.
This brings us neatly on then. The future of YouTube, where do you think it's going to go? Towards that?
There are some threats on the horizon. So that everything's being decentralized at the moment. So the whole blockchain thing and the idea behind that is that YouTube at the moment has the power, right? And the whole idea is, between a lot of blockchain projects, if you look at like finance, you know, they want to get rid of banks. And the idea being that there's just this giant pool of money that the people own, and you just put money in and out, and, you know, you can decentralize stuff. So Amazon could vanish technically, because you could start a shopping website that the people own, and you would own the token of that, which is like the currency, and that's how they build up capital in it to make it work. But there's no one actually controlling it. Okay, so that's kind of the thing that's starting to grow quite a lot online. So there's
what could go wrong there?
Yeah, well, interestingly, it's there's a couple of things that I look at. There's one called Uniswap, which is like a currency exchange for cryptocurrency, and that's kind of decentralizing how cryptocurrency get back and forth. So there's plenty of things that can go wrong, but they're growing very, very rapidly. Yeah. And if you think about it like this, if they got Amazon a competition to the point where no one owns it, so there's no, you know, the fat cut that Bezos takes wasn't there, and the transaction fees are low and stuff like that, like, how could Amazon compete? So, you know, it's a long way off this, but there's something called Theta, which is the guy who started YouTube has gone in. It's a decentralized video platform, with the idea being that there isn't a head honcho like there is on YouTube. And you see a lot in the comments on YouTube that people get fed up with YouTube being like, you know, change ad revenue and they can censor stuff. And,
that's quite a concern at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, so this would be, well, no one runs it. No one's making those decisions. It's literally just, and the way it works is everyone hosts it themselves. So you can become someone who basically kind of like gives access to almost your like computer power, so that this device, all the content can be shared around the world from multiple devices that all pull together, and that eliminates the need like YouTube to actually store it. Yeah, and that could potentially overthrow it, because if that became super duper popular, you know, and people didn't want this whole kind of like centralized approach, then yeah, YouTube can't decentralize itself. So if that was the thing that then society went, we only want decentralized stuff, it could potentially just vanish. What's likely to happen is it's just going to grow more and more, because it's you know, it's, I don't watch much television, not many of my mates do. I don't watch much Netflix, you know, and I think the great thing about YouTube was it opened the world. You know, I think years ago in England, we had 4 or 5 choices of what to watch in the evening on TV. Yeah. You know, on Channel 4, 1, 2, 3, 5, whatever. And this is just mean that anyone can learn absolutely anything whenever they like, and just watch what they're interested in whenever they like, as much as they like. And it's like, how can that ever lose? So as long as YouTube themselves don't muck it up and annoy people to the point where they want to leave, or another platform doesn't appear that just overthrows it, then yeah, I can't really see it doing anything other than grow. Now, it does have a VR arm to it. And at the moment, Mark Zuckerberg is very big on this whole metaverse and VR thing. He's investing heavily in it, which is a worry, because Mark Zuckerberg, I don't really want Facebook controlling the future, because I can't stand them like as a corporation. So I'd love to see YouTube trying to get their VR stuff pushed more, actually, because imagine how cool it would be if you wanted to learn about a new camera or a setup or a studio setup, and you were in the room with them and they were like, okay, look here, you know, put the light here and so on. And like I had with my DJ experience, it would just take it to a whole new level.
That's really interesting.
I'd like it to go that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's either boom or bust, really. Nothing in the middle.
I think what you were talking about, you know, the sort of, well, it's a very socialist platform when you think about what you were talking about, how like the new Amazon, where nobody actually owns it and there's not a big profit cut from it. It all sounds great. It all sounds like ideal, but do you not think human nature, as happens in all business, when somebody realizes there's a demand for it, they also realize we can make a shit ton of money out of this, and somebody will always be in there going, okay, we'll get our little slice here. Do you not think that would just happen?
I know that happens now. So the way that it tends to happen with these sort of decentralized things is they all have their own like cryptocurrency, right? Yeah. So if we use Uniswap as an example, this is where you can. So if with a cryptocurrency, you have something like Coinbase, and if you're used to stocks and shares, that's the cryptocurrency version of Hargreaves Lansdown, probably at the moment as close as it can get to it. So if I want to sell Bitcoin, I have to put it to them, and then they pair it with someone who wants to buy it, right? So if there's no buyers or sellers, you can't really do much about it. And what happens is you pay a fee for that service. So Coinbase say, thank you, that's 2% for us arranging that. A decentralized version of that is, there's this gigantic pot of money. And if I want to sell my Bitcoin, I just sell it to the pot, and then it pings it back out to me because there's so much money in. But the money has to appear from somewhere. So that money appears from the people. So I say, you can have my Bitcoin. That's fine, but I want APR. And at the moment, what happens is you put some of these cryptocurrencies, you put money into these pools, you can get an APR of 300% because the people are trying to get your money in there, because then you get a cut of the transaction fee. So there are people out there that are making a crazy amount of money just through these pools, as they're called already, which is a legitimate way of doing it. And it funds everything and helps it to be decentralized. So there's actually a way of doing it now, which is legit. The problem, like you said, is if suddenly something happens, and I think the other day a network got hacked called Poly, which is a blockchain, and they stole $350 million worth of money from lots of people. And that's a bigger issue because that's gone. That's never coming back because it's all anonymous.
Exactly.
but yeah, like the whole decentralized thing is exciting and terrifying at the same time.
Yeah, it sort of blows my mind, really. You know, I'm only 44, but sometimes I feel like I'm 94 when my mind just struggles to sort of appreciate just how far out of touch I think maybe I am with the current developments and what's going on. I kind of just all of a sudden talking with you, I'm suddenly now aware of this whole sort of other culture that's going on that I didn't really have any real apprehension of at all. And you're like, shit, I need to.
If I'm not doing work on YouTube, I'm looking at blockchain and virtual reality and the future. Because I was like, look, you're like, right now what we've got is Web3 on the way. And just like everyone laughed at me about vlogging when I was a kid, I got into websites. And I remember people being like, why do you have a website? And it was such a weird thing to do. Like we had like a computer at school and I'd found a way of getting on the web. And it was really discouraged because it was odd. And back then the web was the thing that the criminals went on to steal your credit cards and you should never buy anything. And I'm looking at it and there's always people talking about, you know, there's all sorts of things like NFTs and then cryptocurrency. People are like, oh, it's weird, it's dangerous, it's criminal. And I was like, this is happening again. And I'm old enough now to do something about it. Yeah. So I was like, I just need to get in here and learn as much. And since February, every night, all I've done is just research. And I'm like, because I don't want to miss out on, you know, I feel like the internet is going to look small compared to what's coming. Yeah. And it's going to be like that thing, like the television. You know, we look at that now and we're just like, oh, it's a television. It's going to be like, oh, that's the internet. Yeah. And it's going to seem so boring. And I was like, but I want to be one of the early people because I don't want to miss out on an opportunity. I don't know what the opportunity is yet, but when
it goes, it will go quickly, won't it? It'll just be like a wave. You see it so many times with technology. Things are nowhere to be seen. No one's talking about it. Then you just hear about it from the odd little person. It's just on the horizon, isn't it? And then before you know it, bang, there it is. Woof, and there's this huge tidal wave of this next wave of technology that comes in. But by that point, it's too late, isn't it, to jump on that?
Yeah. Well, I look at some of the investments and stuff going on, and I follow a lot of people on Twitter. Yeah, I follow a bloke, and I think he must make about $1 million a day at the moment in investments in different projects, just buying and selling stuff. And it's crazy. It's like the Wild West of things going off and happening. And there's just this whole world of nerds that are just sort of building all this crazy stuff. And people invest in it, and then it's kind of like boom or bust. But it's. I just think like if I think right now it's like if you have a job and you're not really interested in, you don't really know what you want to do. So just look into blockchain or VR or augmented reality and this stuff, because you don't have to make it, but you could be involved with it. And I feel like, if you got involved with a massive internet company as a marketing representative, or even like an accountant at the start, by the time it became Amazon, you're sitting on shares and an insane amount of money. And it's all just brewing again now. And then, like you said, the wealth, everyone thought Bezos got rich quick. I just feel like the kid who invented the Ethereum blockchain, I feel like his wealth is just going to make Bezos's look like it took forever. Because like you said, the wave's going to hit and it's all going to kick
Everything's
off.
So much quicker these days, isn't it? It all happens so much quicker. Speaking of which, we've got about 15 minutes left before you need to go. We haven't started any questions yet. Are you all right if we fire over and batter through some of these questions?
Away.
Awesome. Right, first off, we'll go to the clan over on Patreon. So it's patreon.com/TeapotOne. First one, Pete English. Hi, guys. Hope you're both fitting well. My question to you both, what 3 things do you regard are the most valuable to you and your career? He always goes deep. He either goes deep or obscure, Pete.
Ooh.
3 things you regard as most valuable to you or your career.
When he says valuable, what sense are we getting at here?
Whatever you deem as the most valuable, whether that's like personally or financially, monetary, whatever you think.
I think travel is my top one. So the last couple of years have been painful because every year since I left school, I have had like a long haul holiday, like an adventure. Like I've done, I spent 3 weeks in Namibia driving around on Defenders, sleeping on the roof, and every year I try and have one of these like once in a lifetime trips, and that's gone. And that's kind of been my thing. So that's why I work really, is so that I can just, if I want to travel, I don't care how much it costs, I'm doing it. And that's kind of my biggest driver. after that, probably just creativity. Generally, I like making stuff, and that's what keeps me entertained and going. Like, I quite like making my videos and then watching them back, and I laugh, and I'm like, I get a kick out of trying all those things. And then probably just friendships as well. A lot of my friends I've known since I was 7 at school, and we still. My mate I'll be seeing later tonight, and I've known him since I was 7, and we still hang around like we're school kids every weekend.
Mega, brilliant. Yeah, I think for me, I think first and foremost for me, it sounds a bit cliched, but it's integrity. Kind of for me, I've worked really hard on my channel to sort of hopefully people that follow the channel realize that your word means something, you know? So if, like for me, if I review something and recommend it, my integrity's got to stand up to it, because if I recommend something and it's dog shit, then nobody's going to believe anything you say in the next vid or the next review, are they? So for me, like, integrity is sort of everything really for my channel. I kind of, if people don't believe me, then I'm failing miserably, I think. And in life as well, you know, my friends and family, I kind of hope they think I'm somebody with integrity. I don't know. And family and friends, I think that's the 3 things that I really value, to be perfectly honest. After losing my mum, it was, you know, my mum said to me before she died, look after those that you love, but live your life. And that's pretty much how I've lived my life ever since, really. Took me on this journey, and here we are.
Yeah.
Right, next one. Stephen Holmes. Hi, chaps. As a budding amateur vlogger, primarily for my own hobby pleasure, I would love to improve the quality of my material. I use iMovie at the moment. Is it worthwhile investing in better software, or is this money poorly spent? P.S. My channel is Steve Sherlock, and I'd welcome any hints. Nice plug, Steve. So, is it worth investing in the software, or should he invest his money somewhere else?
So the software now, like I started on iMovie, and then the natural shift is to Final Cut. And it's actually quite easy to learn the interface.
Yeah.
It was, they changed it.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't do that now. I'd probably invest in a powerful computer, and then I'd probably just start on DaVinci Resolve, which is like free. And the free version of it is professional. And then you can upgrade to like get even more professional features if you want.
Yeah.
But like, I look at it, I'm like, how is this free? Like, it's some of the stuff it can do, it's just incredible. You get industry standard color grading software. So like they literally use it in Hollywood, and you can get it for free. But you need a powerful computer. And it's the same with anything you upgrade to, you're gonna need a powerful computer. So what you want is, before you upgrade your computer, especially if you're on a Mac, buy 3 hard drives, okay? So external hard drives, and never ever run your editing library, which is basically that holds all the data, off your computer. So on iMovie, you can save your, and this will speed up iMovie anyway, you can, when you make a new library, which is like a whole new project, it asks you where you want to save it. Save it to an external hard drive. And then on another hard drive, save all of your clips. And then, I don't know if iMovie will have it, but there's another thing called cache, which is like every time you make a cut or anything like that, like saves a bit of data, and that gets really big. Save that on another hard drive, and that will free up your computer to do as much work as possible.
Right.
But I would say, invest in a computer. The thing is, my iMac, which is like top of the range, if I don't do that system with the hard drives, it still can't edit my videos. Still just crashes.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy,
hard drives and computers.
Yeah, I found that that was like a revelation for me, discovering that you could, on Final Cut, you can keep your library that you're working from, you can keep that on an external hard drive, and I put it on a little SSD, sort of, I've got a couple of 2 terabyte SanDisk SSD drives. God, as you said, just, I can edit. I used to make, oh God, what are they called? You know, the low res files of it, what are they called?
Oh, proxies.
Yeah, I used to make proxies of everything, which took days, you know, when you've got 4 or 5 cameras and drones and 4K footage and all that. It took forever to generate all these proxies. But now, working off the SSD drive, I can work straight off of the original files. But do you think I mean, do you suggest investing in the kit, or just learn how to use what you've got?
The thing is, if you keep rubbish kit, you end up working out how to fix your problems in the edit. So, for example, some people, if it doesn't look good, then it's like, well, all right, that doesn't mean it's game over. Maybe I could turn this into the fact that it looks rubbish into part of the story and be like, all right, I'm going to add extra effects, static and stuff, and make it feel like this part of the video is supposed to be shot, on a security camera or something like that. So there's always ways around bad kit. And again, I when I look at TikTok and I spend hours laughing at stuff, no one's filming on anything good. No one's, the production value is rubbish. Yeah, but it works. So you spend the time on working out how to be more entertaining and get your message out there. The kit's great, but I mean, you'll never not want to upgrade your kit. It's like motorbikes. The second you buy a motorbike, you want another one that's faster or, bigger or whatever. Like, it's the same thing. Yeah. So I think, the computer's important, and it will help you then get the kit. But if you buy the kit and it's filming and it's bigger data, your computer's not going to be able to put up with it. Your editing software is going to struggle. So it feels like you kind of need that first if you've only got one thing. And everything's going to speed up if you do that anyway. You'll be editing your phone shot footage and being like, oh, it's just so much easier. And when it's easier and quicker, you're going to get better at it.
Absolutely. And Stephen, there is a whole, I mean, as Ed was saying earlier, you can literally go on YouTube and search any topic, can't you? Like how to edit faster, how to set up my Mac to edit Final Cut Pro faster, how to film better. It's just absolutely anything. You can find the information, can't you? And somebody somewhere's made a video about it.
Yeah. There's not much on YouTube that isn't covered.
No. And if you find it, make a video about it. If you find something that's not covered, make a video about it, because you'll do really well.
Very quick.
Yeah, definitely.
There's your new job.
There you go. Rob Bignell, myself and my missus both ride bikes, and have nearly created a year's worth of videos to hopefully release one every 2 weeks as of the end of September. Will this keep the YouTube gods happy, or should we aim for more frequent vids? The frequency question. What's your thoughts?
Why did you create a year's worth of content and then not release anything?
I don't know.
That's my thought. It's like, get it out there, make it, release it, get it out there. It's great to batch. I'm always going to advocate batch production. So if you don't ever produce one video, produce like 4, as many as you can.
That's the problem I make.
I think I had Hillier Smith on my channel the other day. It's Hillier Smith's Logan Paul's editors, and he's like known in the YouTube community as the YouTube editor. Like he's like the top of your game. And he summed it up really well. He was like, look, YouTube's like a beach, and basically you've got to cover the beach with a wave. So you either have loads of little waves that you release on a regular basis, and that will cover the beach. And you release it, and then it fades, and you release another one, it fades. Or you make a tidal wave, and the impact of that video is massive, and that tidal wave spreads across the beach, and it's so powerful it goes all over the land, but eventually that will fade again. And that's the best way to describe this. It's like, go big on your videos and try and create something epic that really shocks people and surprises them and they love, or be consistent and do something once a week. Now the problem is not everyone can create a tidal wave, so the majority of people need to start off doing more regular content. But I would say for most channels, once a week is plenty. I did 3 a week. Do you know what I've realized recently is no one's anticipating the release from the channel that does 3 videos a week in the same way they are someone like Logan Paul, who hasn't posted for a month, and then suddenly he releases something, and there's like news articles about the fact that this guy's posted a video because it's like special. So there's part of that too. But I think if it's the start of your journey, you need to learn a lot, and you need to make tons of mistakes. And you need to find out what your audience is interested in. And when you release something, you just look at the data. So basically at the start, just do what you can and then perfect things. Yeah.
It's difficult, isn't it, to begin with? Because to begin with, nobody will watch. You'll post a video out there and you might get 10 views, maybe. Could be lucky. You could get a couple hundred. You could be really lucky and just smash it from the word go. But the 99.9% of people, It's like that first 1,000 subs is tough, isn't it? It's really tough to get that first 1,000 for sure. And as you said, that's the time when you're just popping out your content and you learn from it. You watch it, you see what you don't like, or read the comments. If you're lucky enough to get comments, read the comments and see what people are saying about your videos and amend it accordingly. And over time, as Ed says, you build up your own niche, don't you? Your own little community that like you and like the content you are providing. And that's how you go.
A lot of the advice out there is like go and copy bigger channels. But what I've noticed recently is there's a lot of bigger channels who don't know what they're doing. And I look at them and I analyze them and I'm like, this hasn't been planned, your massive channel. And I can tell from, because they're still making mistakes that they shouldn't be at their size. And they've got there because of one video. Yeah. So one of the things to look at is how are people doing stuff? Don't necessarily say it's the right way of doing it, but how can I put my own spin on this and how can I differentiate within my niche? Because no one wants another, Baron von Grumble on 44 teeth. We want something different because that's been done and done very well. So you need to find your own voice there. Mm-hmm.
It's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to having a chat with you professionally down the line for sure. Right, last one on Patreon. Adam86. Hi, both. I graduated from university with a broadcast post-production degree, but like most graduates, I never actually worked more than 6 months in the industry. I found that making content was more of a hobby and just stressful as a job. My question is, what editing software are you both using? Is Final Cut Pro still the best for semi-pro, or has Adobe Premiere taken over? And have either of you been brave enough to try using Avid? Well, we kind of touched on
Avid,
that, didn't
we?
No,
Avid is like television editors, you love it.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, Avid's got a big fan base, but at the same time, you can do stuff. It's all down to the layout and the way it works and so on. But everyone just likes their own different thing and they'll argue about it. Mm-hmm. I just think get the one that you can afford or that suits your computer. So if you haven't got a Mac, well, then look at Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve. If you've got a Mac, Final Cut is just fast, and it can do tons. And maybe Premiere Pro can do more, but it's slower. And it's, so to me, it's always been one of those things where it doesn't really matter. You just try them, see which one you like, and then stick with that. But as a professional, there is a lot of lean towards Premiere Pro. We're the opposite of the production company. We don't want to work with people with Premiere Pro. We want to work with Final Cut. Yeah. So if you can learn all of them, if you want to go pro, like Premiere and Final Cut, happy days. Otherwise, if you do want to go pro, you're probably better steering towards Premiere. But it just, it has its pros and cons. It's a bit slower.
Yeah, my son's in the industry. He's a professional videographer for he's self-employed now, and he uses Premiere Pro. And sort of laughs at me because I use Final Cut. He can use Final Cut, but he's just like, no one uses that. It's just you YouTubers use Final Cut. And I'm like, no, actually, there's been Hollywood films made with it. Well, I think there's been like one.
They've done some on iMovie. iMovie's done some films. That's the thing, right? You say it. The other day, it's like, what do you need? The color grading. Some Hollywood films just need to cut it. Then it gets sent to CGI. Then it gets sent to the colorists. So a lot of editing is just cutting stuff. Yeah. It's pretty basic. Do you know what I mean?
Don't say that. That's my job.
Yeah. Well, it's how you piece the story together. But, Hollywood has a script. And then it's like, how do you make that more engaging? YouTube often doesn't. So it's a different ball game. Yeah. Right, folks, thank you very much for your questions over on the clan. I think we have one over on Instagram. Raidu412 or Redu412. Hello, my question. I think English isn't his first language here, but he says, how far are you from motorcycle, mental and literally? So I think he's meaning, are motorbikes part of your life? Obviously, we've had a little chat about that earlier. Can you see them coming back in maybe into your life in the future? Yeah, I'd love one.
Next time you step into a dealership, by the sound of it.
Unlike production kit, I love buying motorbikes. I just like looking at them. I like the sound of them. I don't even have to get on it, and I'm quite content having one. I don't know what I'd want. I know I'd end up looking at like a Bonneville style or Thruxton or something, but I know I'd also get bored quite quick and then lust for the sort of naked middleweight. I was eyeing up sports bikes, but for someone who's scared. I mean, because I drive so little now, even just getting in the car, I'm scared. So just being on a bike, it's going to terrify me. So I'm not sure. I'd like, I messaged Judy and I was like, doing a bike trip would be cool. I'd be quite up for that. And I know some of my mates are getting their licenses. So I'd definitely be like, oh, lads, let's go and do a tour around Scotland or something.
It is the best feeling in the world.
Travel. Yeah.
I love it.
It's just like heroin, isn't it? Riding a bike. It's so addictive. I remember when I did my driving, my first lesson on a 500cc or whatever it is they do after you pass your CBT, and my instructor in my ear, who was on a dual carriageway, he went, just he's like, all right, give it everything it's got. And I just couldn't believe it. This is like an old tatty. It was awful. I just remember being like, whoa, this is amazing.
The first time I got
you just chase that.
I bought myself a brand new GSX-R 600. So it's like a sports bike, 600cc. Same as you. Passed my test on a 500 and thought, this thing is like a fucking rocket ship. Then I got on my brand new bike and I'll never forget being on the M25 in the slow lane at 53 miles an hour, thinking I was going to change time. I thought, I am going into a different universe. And then like literally a week later, you're doing 160 mile an hour on a private road, obviously. and just thinking, yes, give me more.
Yeah, where does it end? I think some of the Kawasaki bikes have gone, in the R1 are crazy. I haven't looked at the sports bikes since
the speed, the power of them now. They're over 200 mile an hour. Some of the bikes, it's just insane. Yeah. Right, dude. I know the time is ticking on. You need to go. Before we go, please feel free, give a plug to the business, what you do. Give any shout outs. The stage is yours.
Sure. I mean, if you want to learn how to make videos and grow a YouTube channel, then just type in Film Booth into YouTube. We do have a production company in the UK, which I don't really ever promote. We actually make all the videos for people and businesses, like film it and, edit it and all that sort of stuff. So if you're ever interested in that kind of thing, that's called Business Film Booth. So we've been smart there and put business on the front of Film Booth. Yeah. That's it. That's my plug.
Cool. Well, folks, check out, if you're listening to the podcast, check out the show notes. If you're watching the YouTube vid, look at the description. All the links will be down there for all of Ed's social channels, website, YouTube channel, everything like that. Ed, thank you very much for coming on for a chat, mate. I really do appreciate it. It's been a pleasure chatting to you.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Enjoy your holiday, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, we've got to get there first. It's like PCR test things we've got to do. And so long as I've not got COVID, and then we land, and then you've got to have 48 hours where you can't leave the hotel sort of area.
All right.
So there's a lot
and
of
in quarantine when you come back as well?
No, that's all right. It's Barbados. I think they're on the green list.
Oh, nice. Happy days.
And they haven't been changed yet. They changed the rest of Europe, didn't they? So I'm hoping that we get away with it.
It changes.
Fair, I live my life in quarantine. Like, I never leave this house. I barely leave this room.
I'm exactly the same. Yeah, it means no different, does it? Folks, I hope you've enjoyed this one. As I said, check out all Ed's links. Give him a little follow, subscribe. Check out his channel. See if it can impact on your own social channels and your own YouTube channel. All right, folks, keep doing your thing. Look after those that you love. But most importantly, live your life. Woo-ha! Dude, thank you very much for coming on. Sorry to end it abruptly, but I was very conscious of the time there for you.
Yeah, that's okay. No worries. Thanks for having me on. It was good fun.